What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Coach Ashley,
I'm Coach B.
I'm Trey.
I'm Pops.
and you're tuned in to Round Robin Wednesdays. Today is a very, very special edition. You tuned in to the Family Feud edition. We're going to talk with Trey today. Trey's our guest. For everybody that doesn't know, Trey's my son, B's, and Jay is his pops. And so we're going to talk with Trey about how the season went, ins and outs. We're going to question him about things like how it feels to play for your mom, your uncle, and your family, the pros, the cons, and all that kind of stuff. We're actually going to talk about him. We'll give you some intel on him in regards to like position and things of that nature. And we're gonna get down and dirty and see how Trey really feel. I'm gonna go ahead and let B take it away.
Well, see, what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about Trey. We're going to critique his game. We're going to see how he feels about playing for us, which is
B
tough.
gonna make him cry.
Which is tough, because we're always on him. No favoritism. We don't show him any mercy. Just for him to get where he needs to get to, we can't act like family. So, I thought I was one of his biggest critics, but if you ever seen his mom or his dad coach him, you'll understand why he might feel differently. So Trey, Jay? Any questions you want to ask Trey today?
Nah, I'll defer.
You'll defer.
Yeah,
so my first question for you, Trey, is which family member is the hardest to play for?
This one.
Can you explain to me why? Give me some details.
So I'm being 100% honest.
Mm-hmm.
Talk up, Trey.
If I play bad, he give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
He let me have it. If I play good, he'll tell me what I did wrong, and then he'll tell me what I did right.
That's a good thing, though, because we don't have time to be your cheerleaders, right, Jay? We want to, whatever you did wrong, we want to know how can you improve what you did wrong. So, tell me about your mom. How is it like to play for your mom?
She's just like him. She's just like him,
Mm-hmm.
but she's not that bad.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's shocking. From all the hollering I've heard, but
Has it always been that way, or did I take the lead here?
It
And
probably
being the worst.
I think it was in Orlando when it was the All-Star game. The All-Star game when I played in the All-Star game. It's my first All-Star game ever, and I played
you sucked.
horrible.
Yeah, thank you.
After the game, we went I think to California, Las Vegas.
California.
Yeah, we went to California.
Went to LA. Yeah.
LA, yeah. And he wanted to talk to me about it. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to talk about it. I was just mad about the whole thing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we got back, that's when he just started giving it to me, telling me I played horrible, and that I had to stop playing basketball and stuff, and that kind of made me go harder.
Mm-hmm.
What's your definition of going harder, Trey? Because, I'm about to go mom and coach mode on you. Your definition of hard, because one day you'll tell us like, oh my God, mom, pops, Coach B, I'm working out, I'm going hard, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You give us 24 hours of like grit and working hard, and then the next day you back to Instagram and things of that nature. And so what's your definition of working hard? Like, what does Trey do to work hard?
Go hard, 24/7.
What does that consist of?
Mm-hmm.
Working out.
Guys, this is how you know he ain't where he need to be on his grind.
Working out, getting good grades.
We're talking strictly basketball right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's strictly basketball. What does getting better look like? When have you sat down and said, just the All-Star game, all the lights are on. It's a middle school All-Star game. At that time, during the 7th grade, a 6th grader won the MVP. He was cooking everybody.
Shout out to Ronald.
Right? Shout out to Ronald.
Shout out Ronald.
You got to give people their flowers while they can still smell them. So shout out to Ronald and his parents. Thank you all for raising a fine young athlete. But the lights were on. The stage was set. It was your time to shine. They weren't there to see Trayvon, but you could have made the whole city remember and know your name. How was that after the fact, before, me doing what I do? How was your process of self-assessing, even during the game? Because I know I know your mom, we seen your body language. You got pulled out the second half and didn't even come back in.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Did you think you played well?
I played horrible.
And see, I think this one, it's a good time for us to sit here and maybe tell him what we think the flaws of his game is. I think if we start down from this end and work our way down, we're gonna let you go first because you're mommy.
Okay.
We're gonna work our way down.
All right.
Go ahead, man.
I'll start with strengths. All right. So, from a coaching perspective, I think your strengths are your IQ, your ability to get to the basket and dish it and make good passes. I think that you're the type of person who can run a set play or get our offense going. That's your advantage on our team. I think that you've developed being able to go left and go right. I'm a little conscientious about your decision making at times. Sometimes I think you overpass rather than making the play yourself, which is great and to a certain degree. I think as far as flaws, because if you ask me, you're a hell of a point guard. As far as flaws, I think your biggest factor is going to be your mental. How you can literally check in and get that dog mentality and get that heart in you. I've seen you get beat off the dribble almost all season long. I've seen you not step up when you needed to. I've seen you make big plays in at the wrong times. I think for you, it's just going to be consistency from a coaching aspect. A lot of people are high on your potential, which is great because I keep hearing your ceiling is high, but I'm not sold on your potential because I know what you do outside of River City Hoops or what you don't do outside of River City Hoops. I think oftentimes, and we'll talk about this, is that you can't separate mom from coach. I think when you think I'm getting on you, I'm mom, but I'm really coach. And so being receptive to feedback is probably going to be another issue that I see with you. But for me, it's more or less the dog. Like your heart, I question your heart, and I question if you can mentally tune in. What about you, B?
My number one thing with him is definitely heart. Because my thing is, a lot of times we get crybaby Trey, like a game is close. I've seen instances where a game is close, game is on the line, and you will hit that big three, or you will do the things you need to show that you got that clutch factor in your game. But it's hard to bring that clutch factor out your game when you playing against some dogs and you ain't got no dog. Mm-hmm. So when somebody up in your face and they scratch he's scared.
He's scared, B.
And they in your face and they right there pretty much hand checking you. We know at the end of the game you're not gonna get any of those calls, so we're gonna stop that now. So a lot of that, he fouled me, this and that, and we ain't trying to hear that. Because if we put you in a situation where the game is on the line, how are you gonna come through for us if you too busy being crybaby Trey? And another thing that I have a problem with is your lack of physicalness. That is your biggest flaw. You are not physical. I've never seen you bang to get a rebound. Like that's nothing you do. And then everything converts with you into, I'm gonna take this long three. I don't want to get in there and put my head down in here with these dogs and get to the rim. And just like your mom said, you can get to the rim. We've seen you do it. But you don't like to get in there and mix it up with all of that trouble that's on the inside and the paint. And that's a weakness in your game. What you think, Jay?
I'll piggyback off of both of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I just seen a video today where Deion Sanders said, the man doesn't want to be the man. Just talking on sports general. The man doesn't want to be the man. Mm-hmm. Like LeBron right now, the Lakers, they won a championship, but LeBron didn't want to be the man. Mm-hmm. It's AD. It's your time. I'm going to be your Robin.
Yep.
Same thing he did with D-Wade. Mm-hmm. Same thing he want to do with Kyrie. Hey, you can be the man. But see, the man doesn't want to be the man because he knows he is the man. Mm. And he knows what comes with it. Yes. And he accepts that challenge and he says, all right, come on. It's me. I'm the man, and I got my Robins with me. We ride. Mm-hmm. We going undefeated. And so that's my biggest knock with Trayvon is he doesn't have that takeover mentality. You know, and so a lot of times my feedback for him, you know, if I ask my wife, like, hey, how did he play today? If she tells me, oh man, he was talking trash, I'm like, all right, cool. You know what? The greats, that's what they do. Mike talk trash. Kobe talk trash. LeBron, he gonna talk that trash. Even Kevin Durant, he's not a super aggressive person, but he got the nickname of being a sniper because you play around with him, he'll shoot your head off. And so, like, that's the thing that if I think it'll take his game to the next level because he just doesn't have that aggressive nature. It goes against his nature. He wants to share. He wants to get everybody involved. But there's times, as B said, you know you got a clutch factor. You can hit the threes in the clutch. It's take over mode. Hey, get me the ball. It's my time, right?
Yeah. Trey, what do you consider takeover mode for you?
Getting in the game,
Speak up.
getting in the game in clutch moments, and taking over the game.
Well,
How do you do that?
Get your team involved and make shots.
well,
Make good defense.
What do you mean by make shots? If it's a clutch situation and say we need just a basket, what part of the floor are you gonna get to? You gonna get to the wing? Are you gonna get to the elbow? Are you getting to the corner?
Where's your hot
Are you
spot?
gonna, what's your hot spot? Where are you gonna get to?
My hot spots are at the top of the key in the wings.
Now, who's your go-to? Like, if you know that if you had 10 seconds left on the clock and you had to do a high pick and roll action, who's your go-to? If you know there's two people on the court that's gonna score a bucket and to tie the game or to put us up one, who would it be?
Javon or CJ.
Javon or CJ?
I think that's both good choices.
Yeah, because Javon has nice soft game from the elbow, and CJ's just
A dog.
he a monster truck going to the basket. My question for you, Trey, is I call this episode Family Feud because oftentimes we get into it about you. Me and B don't see eye to eye. B's told me multiple times, you ain't on his ass, you ain't on Jerry ass, how you on Trey ass, and all this other kind of stuff. And then me and Pops will fall out because of how he give it to you on your feedback, and I think he being too harsh. I did call him an op last week, y'all. And so
Family Feud.
you say the op on the end is your biggest critic, but what about B? Because I've seen B, you come to me multiple times and say, B, Mom, Coach B has always got something to say.
Coach B hit it with the best.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like.
So keep it 100 with us while we on here. While let the world know, like, how does Trey feel about playing for his mom, his pops, and his uncle? Like, what's the pros to it and what's the cons of it? I'm gonna tell you my pros and cons, and then I'll let you tell me your pros and cons, and I'll tell you what I think the pros and cons are.
With detail.
Oh, you want me to start?
Okay.
So some of the pros are being able to be worked out by them because my mom, because not everybody has access to a technically personal trainer, or they have to go out and pay for it. And another pro is not most, like if you're in a game and your mom says, like, your mom's not going to give you the same feedback as a coach would. So it's like getting feedback from a coach and a mom's perspective. Same thing with him.
What about Coach B? How you feel about Coach B? Because you say, Mom, he always be saying stuff at the wrong time.
I think he know I'm a realist. I don't sugarcoat it with him.
Yeah, he don't sugarcoat nothing. He go, if I'm
he's
messing
sucking,
up,
he's
he gonna
sucking.
tell me.
That's real. That's real. From my perspective, and I'm putting myself in coach's world right now, I think the benefit for me being your coach is, one, I'm not going to sell you on your potential. I'm not going to see you as everybody else sees you because I know what you're capable of, and I know what's in you. I know what's in your DNA. Another advantage for me being your coach is we can come home and watch film, and I can literally break down to you, Trey, and say, hey, here's the gaps on a 2-3. This is how you break it. Hey, here's what you did wrong. Or, we can literally analyze the game, and I can tell you from a coach's perspective how you played, what you missed, what you could have did better, and things of that nature. A lot of kids go home and don't have that opportunity. A lot of coaches aren't in tune to their kids. A lot of coaches aren't watching film, which I think is a plus for you and could put you 10 steps ahead of everyone if you, again, lock in and understand. And we break down the game like Kobe and Mompacita. You know what I'm saying? I think also, like you said, another advantage is me being your coach is me breaking down the game from a training aspect, and we working on your shot, your ball handling, and all that. I think about the last 12 months from your 6th grade year to your 7th grade year of how much of an incline you had. But then I think there's some areas in which you plateaued, so I think that you and I can work on those things as well. Also, from a coaching perspective, I think because I played collegiately, I think I know what coaches are looking for, and I can feed you that. So that way you can't ever say, boom, my mom or my coach didn't tell me about the SAT. My coach didn't tell me about the ACT. My coach didn't tell me what part of my game I was doing wrong. Okay, I'm 6 feet or I'm 6'2", I'm 6'3", but these people got me playing in the post, but this coach knows that when I transition to my collegiate level, I'm going to be a guard. And so, I think those are just pros in regards to, me being the coach. Me being the mom is like, well, shoot, I'm gonna give it to you blood raw. Like, okay, son, you shaming the family. You shaming you messing up the name right now because you ain't locked in. And that's the mom in me. The mom in me is the one really trying to dictate whether I'm gonna be coach or I'm gonna be mom. And me being the mom is the one really cheering you on, knowing that you can do it and do whatever it is that you set your mind to. I think that's the difference between coach and mom. I'm here to push you as a coach. I'm here to get you where you need to be. And also the biggest plus trait about me being your mom and your coach is the bumps and the bruises that I had along the way to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes.
I want that. I want to take time, since we as a family, we take so many shots at him and we take time to break him down, but people don't understand that we build him up also. So
Oh yeah.
the number one improvement I've seen with him is his foot speed. Guys, believe this when I tell you. that dude had some of the slowest feet. He was standing in concrete. He was always beat off the dribble. And I mean, I've been seeing him over the past when the season ended, because the season didn't end well for that group. And he got beat off the dribble a lot. He look at film and he see it. He's just not as quick as other people, but he's been in the lab working on his legs, constantly working on his legs. He's cut up a little bit on his shoulders.
Shout out to Butter.
Now when I'm seeing him play, he's not getting beat off the dribble. He's not standing to the side to make sure nobody beats him that way and try to get a step that way. He knows exactly what's going on, and he's keeping up now. So that was one of the biggest flaws that I seen. He's jumping a tad bit higher too. And standing, your frame is always going to be a plus. You have a basketball frame. I think you're about 6'1" now. We ain't measured in a minute, but I think you're about 6 feet to 6'1", and you're still only 13 years old. So that's always a big plus. So I'm proud of him in that aspect. But what I don't like, you're still a streaky shooter. I think you got a potential to be a great shooter, but you change up how you shoot the shot so much. Like one time I might jump, one time I might not jump. I might stand on the floor while I'm shooting a long three. That's not gonna work. So once you gain some consistency in your jump shot, that's gonna make you a better player too. I expect you to be scoring at least 14, 15 points a game this upcoming AAU season.
School season too.
School season too. What you think, Jay?
I'll start with the con of having me courtside, even having me in the household, having me in a car ride is my standard. The whole. I'm sorry, say again.
It be when you getting on me, it be the long car rides too.
Well, if it's an L, them rides is always longer and quiet. But my standard is my standard. I don't care if your coach says you lit it up, the whole gym says you lit it up. If I'm there and I see it with my own eyes and I know, like, hey, that's him at his 60% of his best, bro, you left food on the table. How you gonna tell me you're hungry and you got these dreams and you leaving food on the table? and you satisfied with it, it ain't keeping you up at night. Like, that kind of goes hand in hand with that aggressiveness of, I was reading Lamar Odom book, and he's from Queensbridge, New York, and Ron Artest is from New York, and he's like, man, I had just seen Ron Artest, and everything was good, and then one evening he rolled up on me with 20 homies deep, and he leaned in and real aggressive, kind of talking through his teeth, and he said, man, I'm the best in the city, and don't you forget it. And he was like, I didn't know how to take it. But it's like, it's that mentality that gets Ron Artest from being a high school standout to going and winning rings with Kobe Bryant. And being an NBA, molding his game the way he's a defensive player. Mm-hmm. He extended his career being a defensive player. So, have a standard. Mm-hmm. Don't get sold on potential. I hate that word. Mm-hmm. If you were watching this, clearly you're watching it. When you can go back and when you hear her say potential, you see me shaking my head. I hate that word because not everybody's gonna be sold on potential.
Yep. What Pop say? Jay Popovich.
Oh, he said, hey, if you're getting sold on potential, get rid of it. Stop holding on to it. Yep. It's like holding on to money. Money's only made for spending. Mm-hmm. It's not gonna increase its value in your pockets or anything. That's what potential is. Yeah. Potentially, you know what? Hey, Dwight Howard could be a starting center, but the game has changed. That's why he didn't play in the finals. Mm-hmm. You didn't need him to win. And so, that's the con, but the pros are the way that us three look at the game, we're looking at the game from a holistic standpoint. We're looking at the whole game, whereas some parents are just like, hey, let's go, son. Let's come on, son. Shoot the ball.
Good job, son.
Shoot it. Why you pass the ball? Don't pass that ball. Just shoot it. And our feedback is gonna be a little different. It's gonna be, hey, dude was wide open in the wing on the fast break. Why you ain't shoot it to him? Mm-hmm. It's 2-on-1. Shoot it to him. Yep. Then you can get it back. Give it up early so you can get it back. Right? And so, that's my pros and cons.
One thing I wanted to do, anything else you want to say?
I was going to talk about him a little bit more in regards to like school, grade, with team, okay, things like that. But go ahead.
One thing I wanted to do was I wanted to ask him what was his plan to get better for this upcoming season.
So my plan to get better, I need to work 10 times harder.
At what?
My hops.
And?
Speed and agility.
Now, how you plan on doing that?
I plan on working on mainly foot speed and my quads and my calves so I can jump higher.
Are you working out right now?
Yes, ma'am.
How many days a week are you working out?
4 to 5.
4 to 5 days a week?
Yes,
ma'am. Who you working with?
Coach Butter.
Coach Butter?
And myself.
Let's talk about Coach Butter. What Coach Butter have you working on?
Everything.
Everything? He an animal?
How Butter be having you coming to the car?
When I get in the car, I flop in the seat. I be dead tired.
So how is it working with somebody outside of family? Is it a little different?
Yeah, it's a little different. I had to get used to it at first because I wasn't used to taking feedback from other people. Mm-hmm. And he always tell me if I'm messing up, Trey, you doing this wrong, you doing this wrong. Get it together, you doing this wrong. So I just had to get used to it.
Okay.
Cool. So you're at Impact. Mm-hmm. You're 8th grade this year, 13 years old. You're going to be playing JV, which means you're going to be playing with 9th and 10th graders this year, which is definitely a plus for you and where you want to go. Ben is your coach with Team Parsons, and Ben will be your varsity coach at Impact. And so, one time Ben and I had a conversation, me, Ben, and Jay, and he was like, Ash, I need you to be quiet. In other words, like, shut up, I got it. Like, you brought him here to me because you know that you can trust what I got going on, because our conversation was before he even started playing with Team Parsons and considering playing at Impact was, I want to pass him along to somebody who I know knows the game, who's not going to sugarcoat it, who's going to teach him and he can continue to excel, because what I don't want to do is go backwards because we put so much work in. And so, nevertheless, he told me I need to shut up. And because he said, he made the comment of, here's what I noticed, and even talking with Maurice, shout out to Maurice, is that when you're in the gym, he looks at you. He looks at you every time he misses a layup, makes a layup, like he's looking for your feedback. And so I understand now from the parent and coach's aspect on why he told me to shut up. Because you still do it, not as much, but you still do it a lot now. Like, my thing is, it's almost like you looking for clarification, or you looking for, me to say, good job, or bad job. Like, and I respect that now because it's time that you hear somebody else's voice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been coaching Trey since he was 7. He's 13 now. So you do the math, 6 years, almost 7 years. He's been under my wings. And so he's played at other programs and things of that nature. I just don't think he's had the growth that he's had until he came back home to RCH. And, it's hard sitting in the gym shutting up. And I know you know because you'll come watch him play and you'll say stuff like, what is he doing? Or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then I know he's literally silently or low-key listening because he wants our feedback. But go ahead, Jay.
I'll be honest, in that moment, that day,
I was coaching.
You
I was
went
coaching.
overboard. It wasn't just Trayvon, it was Dom, slide down, Dom, be in help. You 2 passes away. Dom, hey, Trey. Yeah, she was going in, and so for coaches that are maybe less knowledgeable, they're fine with it because she got away with it at Ocean Way. They weren't great coaches. No offense to you guys.
Hey guys, I'm not just a coach and a mom. I'm a coaching consultant.
They kind of just let her get away with it. But truth be told, every coach is going to be offended if you're going that far to where you're giving feedback. And it wasn't just Trey, because it was other players. They're all looking back for her feedback. Like, did I slide over? I did. Okay, thank you. Was that good? I get that rebound? Thank you. Okay.
Well, I gotta say this. If you've ever played for River City, you understand that Ashley is probably the most decorated one in it, but me also. We coach each other's teams.
Yep.
Like, she'll have a team out there, and I'll act like she don't know what's going on, because I'll be out there telling the kids about standing at the bottom of the baseline, hey, do this, do that, do this, do that, until she tells me to shut up. So it's good to hear somebody tell her to shut up sometimes. And then it's the same way with me. It's like, sometimes you might look over there and I might be saying, Ash, go sit down, shut up, I got this. But it's just the love of the game and basketball and wanting each other to do the right things and wanting the kids to do the right things. And we feel like all of the kids are ours, So it's not always a bad thing, but in certain circumstances when, you got him playing for another coach, he just needs to kind of hear that voice and let that voice be the one leading him and guiding him to where he needs to get to.
I agree. This is totally off subject, but I was listening to No Chill Gill's podcast yesterday, which kind of inspired the podcast today. And B, I'm going to commend you on something that you do that I totally hate, because I heard Gilbert Arenas talk about it, right? Because he had his son on his podcast, and they were talking about, them understanding the 2-3. And he brought his old coach on, his high school coach. And they talked about dominating the zone and how it felt from being from the dad perspective and the coach's perspective. But one thing I respected in that podcast that they talked about is substitution, and pressing, and not giving a damn if they up 30 and applying the pressure. And so this is totally, but here's my thing, because I get it from Gilbert Arenas' standpoint. He loved to see his son mash the gas and his team, the team that he's coaching. And as much as I love to see my kid mash the gas, I always try to get my bench in. Which, hold on, because that could be detrimental, right? Later. And he had a valid point. He said, you go up 20, then you put your bench in, and then let them play the teams, and they come back and go up another 15, 20. He said, now you got to put your starters back in. to do the leg work to get you back in that league, and then you do it over again, you do it over again, you do it over again. He said, why? How the other team gonna learn? Why not put their foot on their neck?
Mm-hmm.
How they gonna learn? How they gonna come back?
But I'm like, you take that approach because y'all two are the same. Y'all have a personality that says, I care about you and I care about people.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the mom mentality.
Yeah. But see, you're not mom, you're coach at that point. And so I think where me and B, we'll kind of agree on some things like, hey, it's black and white with us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the object, you play the game to win. Now, obviously, there's some other factors that play in. So, if we're playing in the developmental league and we got 15 players in, I mean, I know mom and dad came to see, little Juju get his 30 seconds of fame so they can take their picture and their video and say, Juju got out on the court. But, if Juju get on the court and you get pictures of Juju, but we lose and we look like doo-doo, that's a problem. That's a problem for the team because it's a team sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an individual sport. It's a team sport with a unified goal, and that's to win.
Yeah, my thought process with it has always been this. I know the game from playing it, but I learned a lot of the game from Ash, and over a course of years, and I always thought Ash was one of the great coaches. I just thought the biggest hole in her coaching thing was her feelings. She will get to a point where no matter what, like the game can be 10 points, and no matter the meaning behind the game, not just here locally, but we can be anywhere. And she'll say, "Oh, I ain't got this play in," and I'm the one subbing for her. She'll turn and look at me, and I'll be like, "Nope, not gonna happen." And that's my mentality. My thing is, we all get the same amount of time to train, practice, and do everything we need to do. We're here, we have a mission. We will complete that mission. That's my job as a coach. So, as much as I would love for everybody to get the opportunity to play, now if we're here local, don't get me wrong, it's time that she had to get me because we could be here playing a PAL game.
40.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're up
40.
40. And she'll be looking at me and I'll be like, I ain't. She'll be like, B, put them in the game. Put them in the game. And, that's the time that you let them learn, But if we ain't here locally, and I have Jay down there with me, Jay be like, nope, we ain't with nobody in the game. We gonna finish this thing out. We're going to close it out, and we getting up out of here, Sometimes it's just in the right time for me to be subbing just on pure, I feel bad for this player today, because when you came out, you knew the talent that was here.
Yep.
And it goes from there. You got to keep working hard to get on the court.
I mean, sometimes you gotta look at the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
When you were looking at the NBA Finals, not even the finals, the playoffs, after the season games, their rotation got short to about 8 players.
Mm-hmm.
Not even 8.
Sometimes 7.
Yeah.
Sometimes 7. And when Miami had injuries, they really kind of went deep to try to find players. Olenek started getting time. Nunn started getting time. And a few other guys started getting time. Wanamaker from Boston started getting time in the Eastern Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. But realistically, your playing time is going to be earned. And so it's not up to Coach B. It's not up to Coach Ashley to make sure that your kid gets in that game. Mm-hmm. It's up to them how they carry themselves in practice, how they carry themselves in their warm-up before the game. Do they have earbuds on? Are they zone spaced out, all over the place? What are you doing to make B say, hey, I cannot afford to have this guy not on that court, right? I can't take him out.
That's how we know, Trey, just FYI, when you're going to have a bad game because you'll have a slow warm-up.
Right.
Like, you get out there, you get to looking in the crowd to see who looking. You get to walking on the layups and tiptoeing at the layup line.
Yep.
Like
it pissed me off. I went to Ballin' TV. I looked at our first game in Orlando, and I remember the conversation that was going on.
What about what we said?
Oh, stop it. We're about to play a great team, St. Cloud. You look slow, you look sluggish, you ain't even got your jersey on.
Jerseys hanging out the back of your shorts.
I hate that.
That's dead.
I hate that.
Fast forward about 15, 20 minutes later, we're down by 15. 15-0. Mm-hmm. It's like, whoa, now we got to fight our way back into it. But I want to back it up and go to last year at Ocean Way. You weren't getting that much playing time. once the season really started.
Nope.
And I told Ash, I said, hey, you ain't doing something right. And you came home one day, and I said, hey, how was practice? And what did you tell me? Right before you started going, you started to pick your game up, started to get more playing time towards the end of the season, like at Butler, and a few more places. What did you tell me you told the players and the coaches when you got to practice that morning?
I was like,
Talk
don't take it. I was like,
Speak
don't
up.
take it personal, but I'm finna go, and I'm coming for y'all position.
And then when you did that, like you actually started getting more burn. And that's the part of the game that we try to get you to mentally check in so we can get that tray at all times. Not on Sunday.
That
Okay?
has to be the constant approach to everything you do in life. If you don't remember anything that I say in life, remember these words. Be the best that you can be at everything that you do. If you're not the best person on your team, whoever is the best person, write their name down, study their routine. Study their flaws. Meaning you gotta study their flaws. What are they not great at? Hey coach, I noticed, Coach B, I noticed that so-and-so don't like to go left and he don't pass the ball when he get in the paint. I can do that. Hey, go ahead, put me in. I'm telling you.
And
watch the film.
that's good right there.
It's good advice.
I like
I'm telling
that.
you.
Yeah,
It's
the details.
great advice because at the end of the day, when you look at the great programs, look at Alabama. In a football standpoint, if you're a running back in the United States of America, you don't go to Alabama, you're in a running back room with all the greats. You with all first rounders. They had Eddie Lacy, Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, Sean Anderson. That's going back, but like, come on, man.
Some you said, Jay, I want to piggyback off of a little earlier. We was talking about the NBA teams and the substitution, how it gets cut down during playoff time. I was watching a finals game, and Bam Adebayo went down, and they brought Kelly Olynyk in the game. And this is what I'm trying to get at. Kelly Olynyk came in that game, and he clearly played better than Bam Adebayo.
Earned his time.
But the coach, and this is, I'm going to get on the coach a little bit about this. The moment Bam Adebayo got somewhat healthy, he wasn't all the way healthy, the coach went strictly off a name, and he put Bam in that game, and AD destroyed him. And what he didn't realize was Kelly Olynyk caused a mismatch in that game because he caused AD to come out of that paint from blocking the shots and shoot. So Kelly Olynyk is shooting these threes. AD isn't in the paint, so they get into the basket, they getting buckets, you know. And me just saying that is basically saying sometimes you have to not go by who the player is. Like I would never look at Trey and say, "Oh, this is my nephew. I'm gonna leave him in the game." You know, it's gonna be that player that's earning it, that's working hard. You know, not to say that I know if Kelly Olynyk is working hard, but it's like sometimes you have to put your trust in somebody who wants it a tad bit more. And that's what I talked to you about, like wanting it more than the next person. When that opportunity presented itself, he came in and he played great. Sure, he might have got 1 or 2 games in, but he played great. Therefore, now they know they can trust him.
Gotta own the moment.
On the
Be
moment.
ready for it. Kelly was ready for
He was
it.
ready. He had
Kelly was
27 points.
He was a starter for Boston. Now you playing against Boston. You won the starter. Adebayo gets hurt, and now you step in and you impact the game.
Yep.
He was ready.
He was ready.
You know, real quick, it's also off subject. The No Chill Gill podcast with Gilbert Arenas, he said the most enjoyable part about coaching his son is one, breaking down his opponent and telling his son who plays the 1-2 and says, hey, on this zone, he said, because a lot of teams in 6th, 7th grade at that time, which was last year, play zone. He said, is telling my son, hey, on this zone, this guy on the back end on the defense is the weakest person on the floor. Go at him. He said, so not only did I get that satisfaction as a coach from coaching, but I get that satisfaction as a dad at the same time because I know I can tell my son or my next best player to go pick and roll, high-low action on the weak link and create plays. And we can get creative with it. And just having, and understanding, son, that having my seed on the court as a coach dominate the game, it's a good feeling. Like, it's a beautiful feeling. Like, I honestly feel, because we pride ourselves on passion, purpose, and being prolific. I honestly feel like it's my purpose to be your coach on this journey, temporarily anyway. I feel like it's my passion. Like, I gave up a lot just to have you. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm gonna look at you and tell you, like, I love being your coach. I love more being your mom, but I love being your coach because I see so much of you in me, and I know what you're fully capable of. And that's the beautiful thing about coaching my kid. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to know that no matter who's sitting at this table, how much we get on you, how much we ride you, how much shit we talk, or whatever the situation is, understand that it's purpose behind it. It's to push you. I know you had days when we ride in the car, you snot coming out your nose and you telling me Pops pissed you off because of what he said to you. But then I see and I get Pops' point too, because you come back the next day and you go hard. I seen B call you a pan before, or Pretty Tony before.
Light skin.
You know what I'm
Light
saying?
skin.
And so understand, I think, like, we love coaching, but we know it's family at the end of the day. I know B will call me just like, was yesterday? We had a whole conversation about you for like 45 minutes. We just talking because we, again, see the potential. My thing is don't sell don't sell yourself short based on your potential, thinking that it's okay being average, and it's not okay being average. You feel me?
You know, I as much as I chastise them, I praise them too. I will warn them.
You do.
I don't tell anybody about it because usually when I'm being villainized, that's my trump card. I'm like, hey, how many points you scored? You're like, I scored 20. Then I drop you a dub? He's like, yeah, you did. So it's like, hey, I really, my thing with Trayvon is his story is so different. Most kids that make it, either it's already paid, you have a parent that's an NBA. You know, Gilbert Arenas' son, he'll get a D1 scholarship just off of his last name.
Easy, absolutely.
Right, you know, your name is Torshawn. You're probably not gonna get that off your last name, so you're gonna have to work for it. And I know that. Lamar Odom, his mom died of colon cancer. His dad was absent. So boom, that's the beautiful rags to riches story. People are gonna gravitate towards that, and they're gonna use that and say, "You ain't got nothing, man. You ain't got nothing." Basketball, and so knowing that he's gonna be in that jungle with those things, and people that's gonna look at him and say, "Well, dang, man, you know you got everything. You're a simp, man. You don't deserve. I'm gonna take all that from you."
Ooh, I want to piggyback off that.
I'm like, hey, bro, I'm gonna give it to you because I want to make sure you go in the jungle with them, that you walk out with their heads and both heads in your hands and say, hey, call me what you want, but hey, you might as well call me king of the court. Call me king of the court, because what's in me, you ain't got in you. And I'm gonna show you that. That's what I want for him. Because his story is gonna be totally different. He don't come from that background. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of people use that as drivers. So that's why I say, hey, whatever you do, be the best at it. Because best believe, even if you're the best at it, somebody's coming for your head. Somebody's coming for your head. Lamar Odom was going to be the #1 high school player. And Tracy McGrady came out of nowhere.
Bust his head. Yeah.
And not only became the #1 high school player, he launched himself into Toronto and became a first-round draft pick.
One of the best offensive players
Out of high school.
Yep.
And he was the last person selected to an exposure event.
Yep.
And came in and killed, slaughtered everybody. Who's Tracy McGrady? And he got an Adidas deal out of it. So he double on.
Yep.
Go ahead, piggyback off that, B.
I just wanted to say, with Trey's situation, it's kind of different from the kids back in the day around my time and around Ash time. Like and Jay, even you, we came from a background of being out there on the street courts, the physicalness, the bust lips, the black eyes, the basketball is life, and it's a little different for you, Trey. You have to build to that point for the fact that you don't come from a bad situation. You got two parents who pretty much love you, three parents technically. You got a dad, you got two dads and a mom. So you got love all the way around. So you're not around here without a dad or struggling or in the hood, playing on a rim with no nets,
You privileged,
You're
Trey.
privileged.
You're privileged,
You know,
Trey.
you got a corner lot in the suburbs and almost a $300,000 house. So let's establish that first. So, but that doesn't mean that you can't build and develop that dog that you want to be. You know, what you have to look at is, I want this more than everybody else wants this. And privileged or not, nowadays you see the kids that come from the suburbs are the better kids because they put the time and effort and they have the assets as far as financially. Now financially, to make it in basketball, you have to have a parent that's willing to put that money into you training and doing the things you need to do. You know, that's the advantage. It's no longer a weakness.
I'm glad you touched on training, and then we'll talk about training, and then we'll get close to closing out. Training, necessary.
Yes.
Going outside shooting on your goal is not training. It's not going outside shooting a mid-range shot the incorrect way is not training. You know, if it's something that you love, you do it 365. I always tell my kids, you are your biggest investment. That's what you put in your body. That's how you spend your time. That's what you do. The time that you use to be resourceful. Training is key, guys. There's so many trainers. Find the right trainer. Spend time investing in yourself. Parents, from a parent aspect, not only do I train my son, but I pay for somebody else to train him. He has a basketball trainer. Shout out to Coach Maurice. He has a strength and conditioner trainer. Shout out to Butter. He has a mom trainer. He has a pops trainer. What else? He has a nutritionist. Shout out to Butter. Like, it's an investment. And so whether it's $10, whether it's free, whether it's $30, $40, or $50, understand that's going to be valuable later. And do your research. Understand what your trainers are doing, why they're doing it, how does it translate to your child's game. So that way, you know, your money's being spent wisely. Outside of that, Trey, we thank you for being on today. Not that it took you much to come out your room and come out here to be on, but we thank you for being on. Before we close out, we do just want to give out a shout out to all our kids, and this is off the record, who made AB Honor Roll. And a shout out to one of our kids who made the Apprentice at Kirby this year, and going into the AP Baccalaureate program, AJ. Shout out to AJ for having, I think his GPA is like a 3.8.
Oh,
And he is, in the Apprentice program at Kirby. Now, and Esau. And get well, Esau. Guys, unfortunately, Esau broke his knee in 2 different places, had to have some screws put back in and some muscles repaired in his knee. Get well, Esau. Eat those cupcakes that we brought you yesterday. Hopefully that helps take away the pain a little bit. And we'll get you guys tuned in next week on Round Robin Wednesdays. Also, special guest next week, too. We don't know who it's going to be yet, but be on the lookout for that. I'm Ash.
I'm B.
I'm Jay.
Pops.
All right, and we'll see you guys later.